Good afternoon. I think everything looks like it's working. Welcome. Apparently my heart rate's not great today. It's the revelation we're gonna have. Rocker panel's making weird noises. That's cool. Oh well. I think I'm settled into this group. Good sized group, so this is good. Hopefully my legs settle in and I can stay here because this doesn't seem too bad. It's just all about kind of my body opening up. Gotta make sure I finish B and C today. Yeah, blah blah. I agree. Let's get together. Make this better for me. Try to open myself up to a little bit more than one day, but we'll see. Hi, Mom. How are you? My headaches finally allowed me to get on the bike today. Probably because I took PTO today, which I'm not ashamed of. I've been on too many days in a row, and I'm like, screw it. I need PTO. That way, no stress, no anxiety. I can nap when I want to. I didn't nap a ton, shockingly. But I've always been off and on about if long times of napping actually hinders me when it comes to headache recovery. I think it also helped. Thank you. I think it also helped that I did a lot of maintenance yesterday. I was swapping back and forth between 2 ice wraps for my head. Thankfully, Penguin did a clean sweep of the pillowcases and sheets yesterday and changed the air purifier filter. And then I had 3 pillows next to me last night that I could swap out and check which one caused the least problems. Because 9 times out of 10, it comes back to the stupid pillows. I hate it, but it's almost always. Like, that's the final piece. But I also was trying to detox myself on sugar, and I probably went too far. Oh, yeah, no. Absolutely. And we have 3 very dandruffy animals. I wonder where I get it from. But I probably took the detox too far, combined with a really nasty cold snap. So who knows? It's better today, and I'll take that. And hopefully it just continues improving. I know it was going to be rough when over the weekend. Just having this on was painful. Like, I can feel the tension right now, but it's only like 5% more tension than it normally is. And it's like, oh, well, it is a headband, and I have a big head, so. But when I did a race on Sunday and started pouring sweat, I'm like, I'll take the headache. I can't handle the sweat in my ears. I need the headband. Bring it back. I have my lines. Yes, I will take a headache over swimming. Oh, Dad, I don't know if I told you. I did get my Rafa patch, though, so I have it. It's not very large, but it's my pride point, so I never do it again. If I ever think, nah, maybe, just look at that. But our clubhouse is one of the ones that they're closing. So I was very happy I got it before it closed. After the service we received, though, and the fact that they didn't have the patches, I'm like, I wonder why you're closing. I feel like there's indicators here that people aren't paying attention to. Let me get in the draft. Ah! Yeah. Yeah, there's only one Rafa clubhouse in Colorado, I think. I don't know if there's one in Colorado Springs, but basically, it's mainly started as a British company. But they're mass closing a lot of clubhouses. So, I'm like, well, if you had invested in like a $5,000 espresso machine, maybe it wouldn't have been so bad. I think it was ridiculous. I mean, Rafa's always been stupidly expensive for no reason. So it could be part of that, but I mean, we know, for example, Primal, their stuff isn't made in a U.S. factory, so they service out of the U.S., but it's not an American factory. Any cycling brand that tells you that their stuff is made in-house and they're not based out of China or Taiwan is lying to you. Oh, yeah, no, I mean, it's very much a boutique. It's, you know, try on some kit and then order the actual thing that you want, which is just such a dumb business model. I mean, it's not exactly, but it's a lot of that, where it's too expensive for them to have too much in the shop because their bib shorts are like $300. Come on, let me stop forcing me out of the draft. Don't give me a draft bar and show that you're screwing me over, Zwift. Bad combination. So, I mean, it's that thing of Rafa had their time. They had a huge social media, you know, public following that kind of flocked to them like people to Apple. But over time, people have realized it's not necessarily because the kit's better. It's just because high-profile athletes used it. Kind of like Oakley for a long time. Like, do I love my Oakley sunglasses? Yes. Are they expensive? Oh, yeah. Are other glasses moderately comparable? Probably. But it's that cult following type thing. That, you know, you watch the Olympics or X Games or any major sporting event and everybody's wearing them. Oh, yeah, no, but Primal's also... I don't want to say what I was going to say. Primal is more of the workhorse brand. It's not bare minimum. Black Bibs is kind of that. Where it's like pure base level. Primal is kind of probably just below mid-tier of like cost. I will say, I mean, I've tried some of the lowest end bib shorts and I'm not a fan. Their highest end is pretty expensive. I have a pair of their $250 bib shorts that I only got because they were on sale. They're amazing, but I wouldn't pay $250. But yeah, I can say this because I'm not actually an ambassador. I'm not a huge fan of their socks. I like the custom nature of them, but they're too thick for me. I'm not a fan of very thick socks. They make me sweat too much. Or they give me that ring where the band cuts in. And I'm wearing larges, so it's not like I can do anything else. So, I love a lot of Primal stuff. Not a huge fan of their socks. Like, that's... Most of the time I wear something different, it's just not visible on camera, usually. But I almost exclusively wear Primal bibs. Because I do make good stuff. But... I've always found it tough to be, like, brand loyal to one brand for everything. Some people make things better than others when it comes to kit. Primal, phenomenal base layers and bib shorts. I can say great jerseys, but I don't ride outside enough. And most of the times I'm riding outdoors is in a speed suit, which I know their speed suit is mainly more for triathlon. So I wouldn't wear Primal for like a speed suit. Because there's a lot of R&D in other companies in speed suits. I think my speed suit's Velotech. And no shame on that. But like socks and gloves, probably not Primal. But if I was doing road racing, glove choice might be different. But I've got full finger, or no, right now I'm racing in short finger aero gloves, which I don't think Primal even makes. Okay, this draft is annoying me. It's kicking me out constantly, and it's driving me up a wall. I don't know what they've changed, but it's bad. Like, Klein just shoved me out of line, and I lost my draft. Zwift. We gotta talk about how people that are actually paying are getting screwed. I get it. I can steer, but you've made it so I can't steer through people. Zwift is one of the only platforms where you pay for things and you get screwed more. For anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, Zwift plays are $50 to $100, and it means that I can steer. But because people haven't paid for steering in this group, it prioritizes putting them in the draft. And that means I get pushed to make room. And they have this barrier that's on my right shoulder right now. That means I can't steer through people, which means I just get screwed. Not a fan. Not a fan. Not saying paying should make me get priority, but it shouldn't screw me. And having done races, yep. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we're going right. Going over the little bump. I am not jealous, Australia. 30 Celsius? Ugh. Will do. Have a good one. Get back here. This also tells me that something's changed about the algorithm again. Because we're getting strung out, not blobbing. Love you. Have fun. Doing what? I have no idea. But it's very much not letting us get grouped up. And it's just guttering us, which is less than fun. Fair. Alright, can we blob, please? Preferably with me in the draft this time. That'd be nice. So now we're going to go over the lower section. Which means lumpy. Alright. We definitely caught some people because I started off at like 125th. See this. Stop. Oh my god. That's so frustrating. Because now I've dropped out of the draft. And I've got to catch back up. All because those two, for some reason, were just shoving me left. Again, I think it's opposite side drive roads. This seems to happen most in UK, well, London. Well, I guess London, Yorkshire, and Macquarie. I'm not super sure about Scotland, but it's less roads, smaller groups usually in Scotland. Whereas London is a more fleshed out route or world. But I'm definitely getting shoved around more than normal. So I don't know if they push another pack dynamics update or what. Trying to stay with the larger of the groups. It's for draft. Yeah, like this. There we go, finally. I can get back in. Mine was just pushing me out again. So weird. I don't feel like it's been this bad for a while. The last time was the race that made me shut off my Zwift place. Because non-steering was getting such heavy priority. Alright. Largest climb. Plane, yeah. Music in my ears saying things different to the word. Largest climb. Not even really a climb, just a kicker. But that's where I most want to stay with this group. For draft purposes. I didn't really want to push this much into yellow, but looking at how few people there are, and where I am, I only have so many choices. Settle in a bit. That shift was not pretty. That's for sure. Not proud of that one. I felt the crunch. Nah. I'm staying here though. You guys push if you want. I am not. Hey, how's it going? I'm gonna steal your draft because I have to come back and do box later. And I don't wanna. Calls Blob after pushing the hill. That's not how that works! You can't push the hill and call for Blob. That's all. Thank you for the raid. Welcome, welcome. I am not racing. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can't see me through the wall of emotes anyways. I'm sorry, Bat Salts. I'm just trying to get back on the bike after a week of headaches and migraines. It's been miserable. Hopefully I had a good stream, though. Just, trying to get stage 11 and 12 done today. It's the goal, at least. Oh, did you do a triple loops? That route sucks. I don't think I've really ever done the back section, and I don't like it. It is a miserable, miserable loop. I was not enjoying it. I mean, I don't like hills either, but the issue was, it was so barren. Like, you're doing a climb and you can literally see... Oh, that house is floating. The fields of nothing. Like, there's nothing there. What should you argue? Whew. Oh, goody. Escalators, or stairs, or whatever. I hate them. Six-day bike pack by late summer. Very reasonable. Honest suggestion? Look at the training programs in Zwift. If you're not paying for any of the program. I think if you had said, like, by spring, but 6 days? No, that's reasonable. The big thing to do is to make sure that you're doing back-to-back days of training. And I imagine it's not going to be, like, high load, but, like, at minimum, probably be able to do, probably, this is the escalators, you fools, be able to do, like, 2 hours, 3 days in a row, at minimum. Just start out. And then kind of work from there. Because the repeatability is going to be the big issue. Not day-to-day endurance, but repeatability of days after days. Tip to give to a Zwifter doing that first stream next week. Don't worry about being entertaining. The audience will decide if it is. Big thing, remember to talk. That is... Oh my god, Alex. Shut up. That's one of the hardest things, is... Especially during events. You kind of get lost. So, unless you're experienced like I am, be very careful doing a race or hard effort. Because if you're not talking, it can be difficult. Unless you're a really good racer. If you're like an A-category racer, then maybe you don't have to talk because it'll be enjoyable. But, yeah, exactly. Also, don't trust your chat to tell you if it's not. They won't. I've watched even massive streamers where they've had no game audio for 6 hours with 8,000 viewers, and chat never told them. 6 hours, 8,000 viewers. No one said a word. So, trust only yourself. Some people will actually... Chat lies a lot. Yeah, bath salts specifically. Some people can listen to themselves, like listen back to the stream audio. I can't. I don't like my own voice. But some people like that because it gives you the stream audio back. But biggest thing, honestly, don't watch numbers. That's one of the biggest things, because so many people get stuck in a rut of, I'm only at 0 viewers. Yeah, well, if you're at 0 viewers, you're paying attention to it. And so you're focused on that and not focused on the stream. So, yeah, exactly. Hide your viewer number and talk as if people are still there. The biggest thing I heard from somebody when I was early on streaming, it was a pretty big partner streamer at the time, who their tip was, think as if you only have 30 seconds to catch somebody. So if in that 30 seconds, at any 30-second chunk, anywhere, get the cherry pick. If any 30-second segment, there's not something interesting happening, or you're not talking, you've lost someone. Always think of it like that. And so, like, at the time they were talking about, like, GTA or something. They're like, commentate whatever is interesting. Like, I'll start chatting with people in this group, even though none of them have any idea I'm talking about them. Or I'll vent my gripes about Zwift. But just get in the habit of, don't really zone out. If you want to zone out in Zwift, streaming isn't really the good option. Chat's your motivator. So you want them to be engaged. Whether it be racing, workouts, or just riding. So, now, as always, do as I say, not as I do. Because, for example, I have my view count on my left, but I've also been streaming for 9 years. I will absolutely zone out for some days and say, hey, sorry, chat, I'm just not talking today. I've broken all of the rules I just said. But I'm also not trying to grow. I'm happy with my community. I've been doing this since 2017. So I know what I'm in for. I know what I would need to do if I wanted to grow. So, but yeah, feel free to shoot any questions. I don't mind answering. Those are kind of just the things, like, immediately off the top of my head. Yep. That was my New Year's goal of 2017. 1/1/2017 is when I started streaming. So, 9 years. Coming up on my 10. Yeah, no, so by streaming Zwift, you will not become a big streamer. I promise you. It's the unfortunate nature. Zwift is very niche. I can pretty much guarantee if you only do Zwift on Twitch, you will never get partner. Affiliate, sure. Partner, never. And I can say that with 100% certainty. The only way that you make partner on Twitch is either... See? This is what's ticking me off about Zwift. Look at this! Why did I get shoved all the way out here? Anyways, I was venting earlier about this. Something changed in the code. But, you have to cross-stream or already have a basis. Or work your butt off on other platforms. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. Yeah, exactly. Like Llama. But Llama is... I would not say Llama is a Zwift-only streamer or something. Llama was a YouTuber first. And was news more than anything. And then kind of started doing a cross in. But yeah. Zwift is definitely not a successful choice to grow in. DC Rainmaker. But I don't think he really live streams Zwifting. NorCal for a bit there. He was doing some live racing. No, I think he did post racing. I don't think it was live. But yeah. I've seen some people on Twitch with massive Zwift audiences, but it's somebody who's a partner that has just decided to dip their toe into Zwift. And it very rarely sticks. Oh, Tony Kanon. That was someone else. But also a professional race car driver, and triathlete. So I mean, yeah, if you're not coming from something already established, it's almost impossible. YouTube is also probably the better place to get discovered, which is why I do cross-stream, but it's that thing of I'm not looking to be big. This is my chat, hold me accountable if I don't show up for a week. Make sure I get up my butt on the bike. Because I'm obviously screwing around and not doing it. I restream for that reason. I'm not an exclusive YouTube live streamer. Because I started on Twitch. And for years, you actually were not able to live stream Twitch and YouTube. If you were an affiliate or partner, you had an exclusivity agreement with Twitch that any content from Twitch was owned by Twitch for 24 hours. It wasn't until recently that they changed that. So it's just, Restream is just an opportunity to get in touch with some of the cycling group in the YouTube community. Because there's a pretty large group out there. But I don't normally, if I ever do only one-sided streaming, it's only to Twitch. Because YouTube requires more stuff. And I'm lazy. Like I said, not a great example. I appreciate it. But yeah, feel free. Ask questions now. I've got a Discord. If you hop in, you can ask me anything ever. I'm not going to gatekeep this kind of stuff. Because more people means we all feed off each other. Basically, the more people that join, the bigger the crowd gets. So, everybody joining in makes for a better base. True. True. Expect viewership drop off in summer. Always. We are backwards. Normally, summer's great for viewership for Twitch, not for Zwift streamers. Everybody's outdoors. So, we're very contrary to what is normal. I say this as somebody who has experienced the gaming side of Twitch. I very rarely do anymore. Yeah, a lot of the Zwift streamers do. There's only a couple of us that are year-rounders. Yeah. There's a lot of US, Europe, Zwifters and streamers. Some Kiwis and Aussies and such. The main market you'll pretty much never see is the Asian market. Just because there's not a lot of language crossover. Okay, yeah. A lot of Zwift streamers are EU. That's kind of one of the reasons I've started slotting into this time slot. I used to stream 3-4 hours from now. But that was exclusively US, basically. So, this is right after my work time. Kind of slots in for both. I would not expect an EU person to stream at this time, though. But yeah, prime time. So, primetime EU and US tends to be 4 or 5 hours prior. So 5, 7 o'clock for UPM. That's kind of what I've seen as prime time for a lot of people, because that's the biggest groups on Zwift, because it's dead center midday for US and evening, afternoon for EU. So that's what I've seen a lot of people target. So, I mean, it's 50-50, because if you do it before that, you can be the waiting room. If you do it during, you're in, the midst of it, which is good or bad. And if you do it after, you're kind of the post room. Not as much. Not as much. Because 2 hours ago would have been 1 o'clock Mountain, so 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific. So, a little bit too late. Okay, 3 hours. Close. Just a little bit before that. Probably an hour or two before that. I do. If you give me military time, I'm aware. But I was raised in a military family, so. But most US, no. You're also Canadian, bath salts. That's different. I said US. You are not US. The US always picks the dumbest decisions. Why? God, if I know anymore. I wish I knew what we were doing anymore these days. I'd be lying if I did. Yes, so because I watch a lot of cycling. I mean, there is. You can pick which side you want to do. But I've watched a lot of cycling. I've been into cycling since 2003. So I've always thought in metric, and I've done outdoor racing. So I'm much more used to, 1K to go or whatever. Tell me there's a mile to go. I'm going to screw up my sprint every time. Tell me there's a K to go, I'm good. So, to me, cycling makes more sense in metric. I don't understand cycling in standard. Also, how egotistical is the US that the system of measure that most of the world doesn't use is called standard? The US has problems. Yeah, I know the date orientation. Thankfully, having been to Japan and liking a lot of Japanese stuff, I have gotten used to the other way around. But that still throws me. There are plenty of times, like if it's January, first week of January, I'm screwed for what date is what. Cool. So that means we finished earlier than I anticipated, so I'm gonna go at least drop into the pens. Get ready for the next route. Not excited about the next one, so we have to do Box Hill again. I hate Box Hill. Oh, start right. I have been to the EU before. I've been to Germany and Austria. Not recently. I'll be honest, most of my desire for traveling abroad is very heavily focused on going back to Japan. Like, I probably, and this is no offense to any Europeans, I would probably go to Japan 5 times before I went back to the EU. Sorry. I'm a sucker for Japan. Having gone for that 16-day trip, the desire to go back is so strong. I've always been a fan of Japanese history. It's just, there's so much culture to it, so. But no, I have, it's worth every penny. It's stupid expensive, but once you get there, your spending power is insane. My wife and I would have dinner for $13 total. New York City is kind of a sty lately. I'll be honest. So is LA. We went to LA this last year, and I don't think I'd recommend anybody go to any major city in the US right now. It's bad. Oh, no. I will not lie. Going to Japan is going to be, bare minimum, probably like $5,000. Tickets are expensive. hotels over time are going to get expensive, and you're going to want to spend endlessly. So it's not a cheap trip, but it is worth it. I won't tell you how much Penguin and I spent for our trip, but it was also our 10-year anniversary, so we kind of splurged. Probably a third of the trip's cost came from flying first class back, but no regrets. But I can tell you, it's tickets probably about $1,000. Hotels are probably gonna be $1,000, maybe 3 to 4 if you're going solo. But if you're going with somebody else, minimum $5K, because tickets are about $1,000 a piece. It sucks. I can tell you though, if you're in the US, fly to the coast and fly out from the coast. No. Total. No. That would be bare. So, to give you an idea, at least from the US, tickets are going to be about $1,000 minimum a person. Probably, if you're flying 2 people, probably $2,500. I would not spend much at a hotel in Japan. You're not going to spend much time in them. When Penguin and I went, we were out from 8 a.m. to 8 to 10 p.m. every day. Breakfast is not something they do there, so you have to pre-plan for that. But you can live off of convenience food if you need to. But I would say $60 to $80 per night for hotel. You can stay in capsules if you want to, which are $30 a night roughly. Food is dirt cheap, and travel is dirt cheap. And you can literally get anywhere in the country in a day on the Shinkansen. So, that. I would, yeah, probably about $1,000 because the US dollar is so weak to the euro. It's probably actually pretty close. But yeah, legitimately, I would recommend everybody try it. You never stay in the big cities on the weekends. Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. Yeah, we don't have, like, our option is, like, United or ANA. That's it. We don't really have many options. And I live in a hub city. Yeah, no, if anybody ever wants to go to Japan, I will give you tips. We spent so much time pre-planning. Mid-February, you're probably going to get screwed by Sakura season, Hanabi. Late February, early March, sometimes April, depending on where in the country. So yeah, you try to avoid Hanabi, which is Sakura season, which is late winter, early spring. You can, yes, but it's going to be very busy. That is one of the peak tourist seasons. Not only international, domestic tourists as well. Sakura season is very heavily sought after. Golden Week, do not go during Golden Week. The country literally shuts down. Nothing functions. It's one of the only times that everybody has the day off. Or week, sorry. Summer, unless you're from a humid country, you're gonna die. June, late May through August, September, you're gonna die. It's 100% humidity and like 90 degrees. 30 Celsius plus. We went in October, kinda still hit humidity, but it was better than summer. Middle of the year is, sorry, Hanami, not Hanabi. Flowers versus fireworks. Hanami, flowers, Hanabi, fireworks. Summer is festival season, so there is that. Fall, honestly, is one of the best times to go. And then avoid New Year's. And also know, they do not celebrate Christmas like the rest of the world. So, top tips for Japan travel. Because people totally asked. Have a good one, Etched. No worries. I was ranting anyways. Don't get me on Japan. It's a dangerous topic. I could go forever. No worries. Good luck, seriously. It's a lot of fun. It's nerve-wracking. You'll settle in. You got this. Alright, I need to actually find a group that I belong in. I don't know why I'm chasing this group that I don't belong in. Awesome. Sounds good. Feel free to DM me with any questions ever. I'm not bothered. There are no stupid questions. Sometimes stupid answers. Whew. Alright, this group behind me seems like it might be better. We'll see. I just want to draft until Box Hill at least. Thanks, Grubby. Whew. Maybe. Not that front section. I just want draft until box. Please. Once we get onto Box Hill, I don't really care. I just don't want to be solo till then. Ideally, I'd do Zone 2, 3 till I get there, but... it's... perfect world. And I'm an idiot, and I go too deep. So. Oh, okay. Is this actually going to be the group? Really? That's quick. We'll see when we get to the little kicker what they do. They may go ham on the little kicker, and I may die. I'm not trying to be as measured as Monday. But I need to be good. Yeah. They smell blood. They see the group ahead. Stab it. I'd like to relax, please. They're probably going to get to this kicker and they're going to go ham. I don't know what that blob was, but it's not staying. I don't really want to be doing Zone 3 before we even get to box. I could, but I'm just happy to be on the bike. Ooh. This is the tough thing about the early time is everybody wants to catch the group ahead. Once it's out of sight, out of mind, everybody settles. But we haven't hit that yet. People are still antsy. Alright, let's see. What are they going to do? I foresee some people are going to try to close the gap to this group. I don't want to. I'm content. One does his two. 3. That's what I thought. 4. Dang it. That's what I was worried about. It looks so much closer than it is. Let's see who I have left. Not a lot. I figured that it'd shatter. Not that much, though. It's a bit more than I was hoping. Alright. Cool. Some people pull the plug, it looks like. A lot of people underestimate that kicker. It looks so much easier to close than it is. If you don't kick like that one person did with the feather. Wait, what? How are you slow? Is Twitch dropping bitrate? Yeah, there we go. There's the split. This might separate now. I'm fine with that. It's too close, though. People are going to be really excitable, which sucks. Especially if we've got this small group tailing off the front that might have made it or held, but are now fading. Because again, this looks so closable. But if you've not tried to close this yourself, it's not easy. This is where sauce comes in handy, so you can see how fast they're going. So you know what you need to do to be faster. I'm better. I've been having... Oh, it's Scotty again. What the hell? Zwift, are you haunting me? Did anybody see that in the top left corner? Because that was Scotty again. Scotty and his jetpack. Happened during the festive. Weird. Anyways, I just saw his feet this time, but I know it was him. I've just been dealing with headaches and migraines this week. It sucks. Yesterday it got to the point of nausea, which is... Ugh. Okay, can we stop? Please. Zwift. Fix London. Put me in the draft. Why is this a problem again? I hate riding in London. And it's worse when they gave a draft indicator, so you can know what's actually happening. It's like you shouldn't release a draft indicator until you can show that the steering is not bumping you out. Forgot I haven't activated the electric socks yet. Been being good. I mean, that definitely has been a war over that, yeah. Really? I'm happy for Japan, then. Because I know it got really spicy for a while. Which always sucks. It's never a fun thing to have like that. And if you're like a foreigner outside of those two cultures, you just really don't know what's going on. You're just kind of like a bystander. Oh. Wow. That's insane. So it really has gotten that bad. That's ridiculous. I knew it had heated up, but I didn't know it was that bad. So, I mean, obviously it's a positive and a negative for Japan. Because it calms down some of the animosity. But obviously, you know, tourism budgets. It's a large populace to kind of lose. Now, obviously, you know, there's the question of the trade-off. Would you rather that, you know? But I don't think you'll ever get a truly accurate poll just because of the culture. But hopefully at least just calms down, you know, negative situations. Because you get sick of seeing the tabloids of all the stupid stuff that's happening. Bye. But let's be honest, there's some American tourists in there too. I mean, I'm happy that they're finally looking at the option of splitting cost of foreign and domestic, where foreigners will pay more for some things. It sucks, but it's like a lot of places were starting to price for foreigners, and the yen's not strong enough for people to actually be able to afford that in country. So their own residents are getting screwed. No. That's, yeah. That's fair. Wrong conflict in my head. Because I knew there was tensions between China and Japan. I wasn't fully certain if it was related to Taiwan, though. That's been a tension that's been flaring up pretty much worldwide, though, anytime anybody mentions Taiwan or China. Oh, why are my legs tired? Probably front group there. Not further ahead, or not as far ahead as I expected it to be. Then again, I was pushing a little bit more than I should have been. But we're getting close to Box Hill, so it is what it is. Has anybody been watching the start of the cycling season? I'm legitimately curious to watch the Unibet Rose Rockets. It's going to be an interesting season for them. I agree with somebody in the comments. It's one of the rare times that I'm like, this season? Yeah. Tour Down Under and Alula Tour. Well, actually, I don't know. Tour Down Under, I don't know if it's actually started or if it's just the pre-crits. I think it's just the pre-crits. Right? Yeah, I think it's just the pre-crits. But the early season is sometimes the most fun to watch. Because it's before everybody's figured everything out. Like the women's Pro Tour already had a big snafu. 3 UAE riders botched it and gave the win to a solo rider. So, it's already been one of those lovely situations. Oh, come on. Steering. Dang it. I'm excited to get Box Hill at least done. I don't like London, at least on Zwift. I'm probably still jaded from TRL. Why? Why? What is happening here, Zwift? Why did they steer left when they don't have steering? And I just stayed there. Oh, yeah, no, I have no interest in ever racing Box Hill. I haven't enjoyed a lot of the Z racing for the Tour de Zwift. I did break fast grits and grits, but that kind of suits me. But a lot of the other courses, I'm just like, not my thing. No, we got people coming back to us. Oh, yeah, no. I don't know what it is about Box Hill, but I agree. And it doesn't help that you finish the climb and then you get that kick in the teeth right after. That post-climb kicker sucks. But no, I don't know. Box Hill is definitely on my list of climbs, but I don't like and I don't know why. I did learn I dislike Leith Hill more. But that's more... It is visually boring. My God. That thing sucked. It was... Stage A was... Ugh. Mind-numbing. I realized I don't know the last time I've been in the back section of London, and I don't want to do it again. It's astounding that there is no graphics back there. There's a point where you can literally see just green. No texturing, no trees, no nothing. I mean, it's probably because it's one of the earliest released worlds. And it needs a touch-up. It's very devoid of, like feeling. It just feels like it's unfinished. Like, all of the climbs have, like, one row of trees, and then nothingness. And if you ever look through it, it looks really bad. True. Like, it was funny, because I could tell where we were going, because I'm like, I can tell where the road goes, because I can see the line of trees on either side of the road, and that's it. That's all there is. It's just, they tried to hide that there's nothing there by just rows of trees. And it didn't work. But yeah, it feels like it's lacking character. Like it's, I don't want to say too clean, but it feels like it's missing the true character of what would make it feel finished. Like, do I enjoy New York for a lot of the roads? No. But does it feel a little bit more fleshed out? Yes. Does Watopia feel more fleshed out? Yes. Even Richmond feels more fleshed out. This just feels like it got one pass and they said it's good. Which I'd love to see kind of an extra pass. Kind of give it more life. See what they could do with it. Because it is kind of, it's missing something. But yeah, like you go look at that hill. There's trees at the base and trees on the top. That's it. Not wrong. Not wrong. Yeah, like that. That's the kind of stuff where it's like, I know where the road is because it's got trees around it. But even to the left, just nothing. It's kind of lifeless. Which, when you're trying to do efforts, is difficult. You want to have something to distract you. But instead, it's like these lined bushes and stuff. So you can't see that it's lifeless. Whereas, like, I've seen a video of Box Hill. There's a lot to Box Hill. There's a lot more they could have done. Like, this here is basically just a normal street. Oh, I'm sure. I think riding Life Hill really exposed it. I didn't realize how bad it was. It's pretty bad. I'm not gonna push super hard. Just kind of settle in. But yeah, like all of this tree line on the left is very much just camouflage. And the little hill on the right is so you don't see that it's empty. Yeah, it is weird. I don't know why the roads still float. I've tried giving up on letting it bug me, but it still does. One of those things I know they're never going to fix. But yeah, visually at least this is better. You can't just stare off into the distance. Yeah. Still bugs me. Like, I know the logic. Still bugs me. I mean, they definitely could have done something. Because in some places, it's real obvious. And I know Zwift isn't meant to be, like, realistic, but... still annoying. Just that thing that drags you out just a little bit. This is a good hill for tempo, though. At least the, like, lower three quarters. Yeah, I definitely like Box Hill over Light Hill. Now, Box versus Fox? I don't know. Legs definitely aren't amazing today. So I'm not sure why. Alright. Second. For some reason I started falling out of tempo. I don't know why. A little over halfway. There's slight slack off. There's the blip. So 700 meters. Uh-oh. I have no idea. Besides the fact that it's going to be stupidly hot for you? What do you got? Oh, okay. Lucky. Oh, that's nice. That's perfect. Oh. You picked well then. Mountains and that? Okay, so Colorado issues got you. That I feel. No. That sounds like Colorado. Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's fair. So what do you got for terrifying news? Oh no. Oh, nice! That's awesome! That is terrifying. I get that. That's anxiety-inducing. But it's fun. In all the worst ways and good ways. That's awesome. Congrats. That's gotta feel nice, because that's like... You're finally not forced to move around because prices jump and stuff like that. You can't call people when something breaks, though. That does suck. That's exactly why we did what we did. Rent was just getting stupid. And it's like, let's be honest. This is unreasonable. Like, nah. No, I mean, 100% endorse DIY. It makes it feel yours. That's why I'm in this space. Because this was one of the first things we did. It's like, mine. Yeah, I get that. You will make a lot of mistakes. I know you've talked about that in the past. I did that when I was younger, but now it's too much effort. Kudos to you, though. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of learning curves. I mean, I hope for your sake. Very much so. Because, I mean, like for us, we moved in and had to redo the roof and the windows. Oh! 50K down the drain? Immediately? So if it's new, at least you don't have to do that. That's awesome, Barney. I'm so happy for you. Like, it's such a weight off your shoulders. Legitimately. It's that thing of, there's no, like, you know, you're not going to get randomly evicted and have nothing to your name because you didn't own anything. No. I wish. So, windows, we knew were coming. We just didn't know it was that bad. But the issue is, we bought during a housing boom. I'm not even joking that there was a house we went to see, and it was day one of viewing. And Penguin and I were chatting, we're like, this is really nice. We went to a realtor and we're like, you know, we'd like to talk about this. And she comes back, and is like, we're leaving. And I'm like, what do you mean? We want to put a bid. And she's like, it's already 150,000 over ask. You don't have this. And we're like, oh, okay. Our house was inflated by probably 75%. And I wish I was joking. Well, yeah, 75%. And is only cooled faster than our mortgage payments. It's great. But the key is it's still, we have investment, so it's not, we're not renting, so it is what it is. It'll always be an upside down battle, but being able to say, screw it, I want to paint this wall, or I want to tear down this, it is a little freeing. That's the win. So there's definitely some anxiety, but it's worth it. Just if you haven't owned a house before, you're going to find out a lot of lessons that you didn't know existed. Like, how to change out the entire internals of the back of a toilet. Or replace the drain in a sink. Or how to 3D print something that holds up the pipes because your sink is falling. Oh, that's awesome, Barney. That's awesome. I'm glad it worked out, though. That, like, that's the thing of, like, it's meant to be. That's when you know it's just, that's it. Like, that's a really good feeling when everything falls in your place and you're like, okay, this is where we're supposed to be. Like, I'm not going to say I believe in, like, committed fate of, like, everything is done before you, but there's times and places where it's like, okay, I think we found the right place where we're supposed to be at this moment. And it's just everything falls into place. It's a really good feeling when that happens. That's pretty much how it happened for us in getting a house, is just came across the right amount of money at the right amount of time in the right place. And it just all fell into place. I don't think I could have said place anymore. I think I've said it enough. Oh, yeah, and breaking lease sucks. See, I'm sure your solar plans are better than ours. For our solar plans, you're basically renting them from the state or the city. And so, like, you still have to pay on them despite the fact that you're giving energy to the city to help their energy network. And it's like, wait a minute. You want to put solar panels on my house, but I pay you despite you're going to take some energy. What? Oh, that's nice. Yeah. That's the big thing is when you get a development house, you can kind of help pick and choose the final pieces. But yeah, no, the energy situation is so bad here. You end up like upside down $30,000 to get solar panels, despite the fact that they want to take some energy back to feed back into the power system. Yeah, that's not too surprising. I feel like no matter what, you're going to end up upside down in some portion. It's just the nature of it. It's just, how much can you not be upside down by? Gotcha. Yeah. It doesn't always, like, you want to look at them and be like, are you trying to incentivize me or not? Like, you're not helping yourself here. Where's the incentive? It's weird. There's definitely some of the things we encountered. And like, as soon as we moved in, you get pestered by all these companies like, you know, your home insurance, this or that, you know, contact us. And it's nothing to do at all with your actual home insurance. It's some third party trying to get their hands into it. Weird. Yeah, no, I get that. You have to gamble one way or the other, basically. And it's just which way. Whew. Oh. Felt my neck crack when I did that. Age. It catches you. Don't worry, I'm not going to start calling anybody young whippersnappers. I don't think I'll ever say that. Like, legitimately. Only sarcastically. I'm so glad to be done Box Hill. I hate that stupid climb. I don't know why. I just hate it. So this will be 12 stages done. So that should be another 500 XP, I think. Having to do triple loops for stage 4A. Oh my god. That was mind-numbing. All of that sucked. I was talking earlier and I'm like, I forgot how bad that back section is. No. That sucks. There's always ways that they're going to get you. Like, it's just... working in benefits, having to deal with insurance companies. Anybody in that kind of sector, you gotta be a certain type of person to work. You gotta be cold. Just... I'm not jealous. I don't want to be in that sector. Let me tell you, it's a roller coaster, that's for sure. Not a fun one either, unfortunately. I am happy to have London done. Next week is Watopia, if I remember right. And then after that is New York. Oh, interesting. I mean, it's the constant fight of which side you want to be on the green equation, basically. So, kudos to them for coming up with something. And hopefully it works out for you. So, I mean, I don't blame you trying to go solar. Being in, you know, in control of your own grid in a sense is nice. Ooh. Here, people come past me. I want to use my draft at the last moment. Come on. Come on. Oh, yeah, no. I mean, I can only imagine. You're in the perfect spot for it. Kind of like we are, but if it wasn't so stupidly expensive. Or punishing. Yeah, I mean... It's more of like a catch than a dependent system. It's just a boost. Ugh. That's the same average as the last stage. Oh my god. Oof. Yeah, that tracks. That tracks. You gotta pay it back in some way. Where's my... Do I not get XP? I thought I would get XP, because... let me see. Yeah, I'll take it. I did okay. I went too hard in the beginning, just trying to stay in Zone 2-3. Let's see. Mouse, there you are. Come back here. Just happy to be on the bike. Stupid headaches this week. It's been a nuisance. Being able to actually function today is wonderful. Yeah, okay. So all are done. That's weird. No, it just didn't really pop to show that it gave me the XP. That's weird. I don't wanna. I don't want to do either of these. I'm not excited about these two. It's gonna suck. Totally late joining Glyph Heights, and I'm not gonna apologize for it. I'm not sorry. I'm late joining Glyph Heights. I don't wanna. Granted, I don't really want to do New York either, but what are you gonna do? Oh, that's fair. Yeah, no, I mean, if you work remote from home, you're definitely gonna make out on that. Alright. No, I don't... What is... Tune activity? Workout route. Robo pacer. Huh. Interesting. I don't know how I feel about this. It's weird. On the app, I wish you could turn it off. Oh, it's odd. I don't know. Alright. I'm gonna head out. I had to go get prepped for Penguin coming home and figuring out what we're gonna do for dinner. Hopefully, as long as my headache's kind of curbed now that they've calmed down slightly. I hope to be back on Saturday. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I'm not doing tiny races. I have no interest in them this weekend. They look miserable. So I'll figure something out, and we'll do something on Saturday. So appreciate everybody for joining. Good fun. 6 more stages. I shouldn't put it like that. 2 stages, 6 routes to do. True. They're more miserable than normal because my power, or my score now has me over 350, which means I have to be in the top, or the upper section. And the rest of this week's on. So, it's a combination. So this is done through, I think this is done through settings in OBS, if I remember right. Because it's native through OBS, and then I just, oh, it won't, there we go. Where is it? Advanced. Is it advanced? Where is it? Output? Stream? It's been a while. Which one is it through? It's not that. Stream delay, network sources. I want to. Now I'm curious. the hotkeys, which I never use. I'm pretty sure it's an OBS. Or is it tools? Oh, it's captions experimental. It's under tools in the hotbar. Watch me crash my screen trying to look for it. That's right, it's not in settings, it's in tools. It won't load. Cool. So yeah, up above next to scene collection, there's tools, and I'm pretty sure it's under captions experimental. But it won't load for me. But yeah, there's a captions drop down under tools. And I'm pretty sure it's in there. And then Twitch can capture them. And then on Restream, I just do that same for YouTube because YouTube has them built in because it's nice. So, yeah, because I took off baked-in captions because most of the captions programs went down. So, it's the best option that I had. So, yeah. If you have any questions, just let me know. But I'm going to run now, seeing my OBS is frozen. I killed it. And I have no idea how I'm going to undo that. So, apparently don't click captions while you're live. Twitch and OBS don't like it. So I'm going to go fix that. Have a good one. Bye. If it'll let me switch seats. It won't. Yep, that tried. Yep, no. Well, this will be fun. Bye.